Hey guys, Doug here with Kodiak Guns. Filming from the house today. I just wanted to do a video. I actually saw this on Coleon Noir's channel, and I was a little upset, not gonna lie, because I had this idea and I wanted to do this video, and I've been kind of planning it out. And then, of course, some really big name YouTuber comes out and does it because that's how it is. And just, all jokes. Love his channel. Go check him out. Obviously, Coleon Noir is doing far more for the 2A than little old me. So, but anyways, this is my take on that video. It is the magazine versus clip. YouTube, this is clear. Okay, all firearms here are clear. So, are these things magazines or clips? They're magazines, okay? We all know that, and I get it. Somebody already just had a visceral response of, oh, if he says they're a clip, I'm going to lose it. The point is, why do we care so much? I understand things are important. Words are important. Details matter. But especially when you are dealing with somebody who is new to firearms in general, and they call it a clip, don't be a jackwagon. If they say, hey, can I have another clip? Say, yeah, I got you, man. Here. They're called magazines, just FYI. You can be nice about it. You don't have to be, like, no. Quit being a jerk. The gun community in general does more harm to the gun community than anything else, because we can't simply acknowledge that, yes, people call things the wrong thing, but we have to be so uppity because we know better than everyone else. And we're smarter than everybody else because we know it's a magazine, not a clip. Good for you. You probably also say suppressor, and you're wrong technically because it's a silencer. It's on the patent. It's used in legal documents. The precedent that you're setting is that you're already wrong because you're probably saying suppressor because that's the more acknowledged term. And it is technically more accurate. But what's on the patent and what is in the legal documents is silencer. So, somebody calls this so why is that different, right? We're okay with suppressor and we're okay with silencer. And everybody's like, well, because clips are stripper clips for for M4 ammo. It comes on stripper clips. Or the clip that goes into the block of an M1 Grand. Yeah, get it. I understand there's differences. My whole point is, let's stop being jerks about it, right? That's like saying, hang on a second. Is that on? That's not on. Okay. Who knew? That is like saying, right, this is an AR pistol, right? Because it's got a pistol brace. And this is a rifle because it's got a 16-inch barrel and a butt stock. There we go. Rifle. Pistol. Am I going to be mad at somebody if they call this a rifle? No. I don't care. If it's the ATF, yes, now we can argue. So again, there is times and places where your details and words definitely matter. But a new guy on the range who's learning, especially, if he calls this a rifle, am I going to be upset at him? Am I going to jump down his throat and be like, oh, it's really a pistol because... No, I want to educate him nicely and be like, well, here's the definitions. This is why... and maybe go through it with, hey, FYI, that's actually a pistol because it has a barrel length under 16 inches with no pin and welded muzzle device, and it's got this pistol brace on there, which makes it, by classification and definition from the ATF even, that it is a pistol. So this is a rifle because, a 16-inch barrel with the buttstock makes it a rifle. Why do we need to be jerks about that? Why do we need to yell at people for that? You probably call this a gun. Well, if we're going to be real technical here, it's a rifle. It's not a gun. Guns are cannon. Guns are on howitzers. Guns are artillery pieces. Guns are on tanks. This is a rifle. So if we want to be all technical on terminology here, I can get into weeds with it. Or how about we stop being jackwagons to everybody and say, when they say, oh, this is a gun. Yeah, it's a gun. I don't care. Hey, this is a rifle. Well, nah, it's pistol because of this, but, I get it. No worries. Whatever. Right? There's no problem with correcting somebody, but not being a jerk about it. Right? Hey, can I have a clip? Yeah, here you go, man. It's actually a magazine, but, I say the as I'm handing it because I know what he means. This goes back to another video I said where we need to do better. Like, that's like, so this is a PSA, all right? Palmetto State Armory, 10.5 inch, right? You know how many people want to be like, oh, that thing's terrible because it's a PSA? Guess what this hasn't done? This hasn't failed once. I've only got 1,000 rounds through it. It was used when I bought it. I have no idea how many rounds were through it beforehand, right? But, your average shooter's not shooting that much. So, let's call it 1,500 rounds through it total. But for me, 1,000 rounds complete that I've gone through it has not failed one time, and that is with the cheapest 55 grain all the way up to Hornady Critical Defense 73 grain, Spear Gold Dot 75 grain. So that little cheap PSA, right? Yes, I get it. I like good stuff too. My whole premise, my whole point with all of this, stop, for the love of all that is holy, being such guardians of the verbiage that we're okay with degrading somebody else, especially if they don't know any better. So it makes us feel good. Like, you feel better about yourself, Mr. Keyboard Warrior, getting on there being like, well, actually, it's silence. Shut up. No one cares. Get over yourself. If you are so adamant that you can't call this, or you can't be gracious, words are hard. If you can't be gracious if somebody calls this a clip when you're out there on a range with them, then you have no business being on the range with somebody new, because you are such an arrogant, pompous schmuck that you cannot be gracious in teaching somebody proper verbiage of things. Because I do believe they should learn the proper verbiage, but not from arrogant schmucks. From a gracious point of view, just simply say, yeah, it's actually a magazine. Like, not the withholding until they give it. Be like, hey, can I have a clip? Yep, here you go. They're mags. And they're going, huh? It's actually called a magazine. Just so you know, clip is something that holds ammo. Magazine is something that feeds it into the gun. Right? So you have internal magazines that you load a lot of times from a clip. You pull them off a clip and you load it into the internal magazine of the gun. Or you have a detachable magazine like this, you load it in there. The magazine is what's actually feeding it into the firearm. That's a simple and pretty gracious way to say it. And when you're doing so to the betterment of somebody else in a kind way, they're going to receive that. If you're just like, oh, actually, it's a magazine, moron. God, you don't know what you're talking about? Oh, Daniel Defense is so much better than PSA. And I agree, Daniel Defense is better than PSA. They're better quality. How many people getting into firearms have just $2,000, especially in this economy, $2,000 to just drop on an AR? Not many. That's before you get into all the good stuff, right? We're talking, you got to spend that much on just the AR. Then but if you're not running the nicer optic, then you're going to yell at for that. If you're not running the best of lights, you're going to yell at for that. Oh, they have an O-light on there. Oh my goodness, they have an O-light. Shut up. Like, I get a little fired up about this stuff. I am so sick and tired of the gun community being such guardians that, because we're better than everybody else and we know it, that you got the old guys yelling at the young guys saying FUD this, FUD that. How about we come together? There's a wild idea. How about people who enjoy firearms come together, have fun with each other, do fun things like shooting, because that's a blast, literally, no pun intended, and teach people who don't know. And don't be such an arrogant prick that nobody wants to deal with you. Because now you're ruining it for everybody else. Now anybody else who carries a gun, they think they're a schmuck just because of you. Do better. All of us, do better. Someone calls it a clip, who cares? Sure, nicely correct them, but maybe not on the spot. Maybe when you're going home, they're like, hey, by the way, you're not going to care if they call it a suppressor or a silencer. Rifle, pistol, rifle, gun. Who cares? Do you know what they're talking about? Can you teach them? And for the love of all that is holy, just let's be kind. Teach graciously. That's how people will learn. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe. If you stayed till the end, go to KodiakGunsMerch.com. Use code Kodiak15 for 15% off. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the next video.